I think there's a shift. I think people are shifting to focus on food. It's it's a wonderful way to bring families and different people in the community together, even with different viewpoints. Food kind of brings them together, and that is also a value. That there's that community component of shopping a community business and being part of a cooperative or a collaborative effort, as opposed to a lot of businesses that maybe Walmart, the dollars take off and head for Arkansas or somewhere. When the co-op does well, we keep more dollars local.
Say a dollar is spent in a certain community, 73 cents on that dollar stays in that community. As opposed to spending a dollar at a non-locally owned business, only 42 cents on the dollar stays in the community. So there's that nearly 30-cent difference. And when you extrapolate that over more and more dollars, obviously that translates to jobs created and money circulated, and local businesses are more likely to then invest in that community as well, as opposed to a business that's headquartered elsewhere.
90% of what we take in goes back out locally.
Very quickly.
We try to buy everything that we can as locally as possible, because just like our customers want to buy food from us because they know us and they trust us, we buy things from people that we know and we trust. All of our grain comes from farmers that grew it, that we know. The hay comes from farms that we know.
It is important to know where your food comes from. There's a lot that comes into play with local. Typically it's smaller producers, so there's a higher expense structure, but then you can have advantages, say transportation costs are lower, or quick accessibility, and the products are fresher, and that's healthier.
Everybody eats, and it costs money, and money is important to us, and how much we invest in our foods. People are so accustomed to thinking that food should be cheap or can be cheap because it's so widely available. And if you don't know that there are so many things going into that, then you just think, well, why would I spend $9 a pound on ground beef when I can go to XYZ store and get it for $2 a pound? We're not asking ourselves, why is it $2 a pound?
That's a big question, really, the real cost of food. The large food system that's out there, big ag, industrial food, is both subsidized and then focused on the same production methods, the efficiencies that factories get. Does that lead to the highest quality? Usually not.
There are more and more conscientious food consumers who want to be supporting local food economies, who want to be supporting humane treatment of animals, who want to be supporting environmentally friendly food production practices. That food is more expensive than the cheaply grown food produced by the industrial food system. But when we think about all the different things that it's supporting the local economies, it's supporting environmental quality, it's supporting better health for us, it's supporting higher animal welfare. It's really a bargain. When we think about all the costs of the other system, I think the choice becomes clearer and clearer. The notion that many U.S. consumers have that our food comes from wonderful little family farms with nice red barns and with cows in pasture and chickens running around the yard and so forth is a romantic notion that has been slowly fading from the landscape for almost 100 years now. If we have any notions that is still where our food comes from, it's because we really haven't been paying attention.
The farm was started because way back in 1980, I kind of stumbled on agriculture in college. But what I learned about the food system scared me. We're trying to do the very best thing we can to take care of this little piece of the planet and to provide the cleanest, healthiest, purest food to a few people. Because that's all we can do. everything that we sell, as far as pork, beef, or lamb, it was born here, it was bred here, it was finished here, it was processed here, it was sold here. And that's pretty unusual.
The industrial food system is the dominant food system in the United States. The main feature of the industrial food system is that it treats plants, animals, ecosystem services, and even workers as commodities. Its goals are to produce a very large amount of cheap food, to maintain reasonable profit margins, and to be as efficient as possible. But this system also has a lot of side effects, and particularly when it comes to animal agriculture. Individual factory farms that may concentrate hundreds or thousands of chickens or pigs or cattle, they tend to produce vast quantities of waste. It's a little known fact that our food system actually contributes more greenhouse gas emissions to the world today than do transportation systems. And we're constantly worrying about cars and trucks and how they contribute to greenhouse gas emissions, but actually our food system, particularly through animal products, is contributing an even larger amount of greenhouse gas emissions.
How do we start people thinking about making conscious ethical decisions around food? And because it can be overwhelming. You can say, oh, there are so many choices and I feel paralyzed on how do I choose what is right for me. And I think that's what's so important, is that I don't want people to be wrought with guilt that they're making the wrong decision. What you should be wrought with guilt about is if you're not even thinking about these things. With knowledge comes responsibility. And when you know about the conditions that we see in many places around food and farming, then there is a responsibility to act. I think our first step is for us to identify what are those core values that are embedded in the way that I eat, and how then do I act on those? How do I make decisions about those things? And I can't do that for you. You have to do that for you.